Hello, I am Addison Morris with Cannabis ClipNotes, presented by Colleen Parsons. Colleen is a client advisor for World Insurance. She has over 20 years of experience in the insurance industry, specializing in tailored insurance solutions for businesses and individuals. This also includes navigating the unique challenges that cannabis companies face. As a founder of Women of World, WOW, the first all-female client group at World Insurance, she is dedicated to empowering women in the industry and fostering a supportive network. Colleen serves as a Susan G. Komen ambassador for the New York State 25th District and holds a board position with the cancer support community at Gilda's Club. So, Colleen, talk about risk management strategies for cannabis businesses.
Yeah, so there's a few general rules or categories that I'm going to be discussing that no matter what kind of cannabis business you're in, you need to make sure you have the following tools to help make your company successful. So the first one would be quality assurance protocols. This includes testing and safety of products, including accurate labeling and packaging. Secondly, is your security measures, so surveillance cameras, alarm system, access controls, things of that nature. Next would be financial planning. So make sure you have a business plan that helps with managing cash flow, ensuring you're compliant with tax and regulatory requirements. So make sure for that you find a CPA that has a dedicated cannabis department team to know all those nuances. Also, you need employee training and education. So to train your employees as well as educate them on compliance, safety, and security protocols. Insurance coverage. So talk to an agent. They can tailor the coverage specific to your business and includes coverage such as general liability, product liability, property insurance, business auto, cyber liability. I'm going to talk about a few other type of coverages that you may want to consider depending on what kind of business you have in the cannabis space. And also, I think most importantly, it's just to be compliant. So do not cut corners with state and local regulations, laws, requirements, and this is including hiring licensed contractors when you're about to start your build out. I have an example of what not to do. So we had a client file a claim. It was a winter storm in Massachusetts. It was a big ice storm and it knocked down a mini split, which knocked down another mini split. And before you knew it, the inside of this grow room was 95 degrees and 97% humidity for 3 days. So the owners of the facility put in a claim to get reimbursed for the loss. 7 months went by going through the claims process, which is normally not the case. It usually does not take that long when you go through a claims process. But after it was all said and done, the owners of the facility we found out that they improperly filed their permit for their electrical work. So all of their HVAC systems hook up and lighting systems hooked up completely were just null and voided the claim. So the insurance wouldn't pay out. Plus, the event happened before we put the insurance in place. So there were a few things regarding insurance fraud too that started to pop up. So it's another thing of being compliant is, something as simple as, using licensed contractors and making sure you're compliant with your insurance policy as well, because they got no coverage and they kind of got in trouble for that. So no coverage afforded. And now there's big red flags happening. So do not cut corners. We all have people in our lives that are handymen, whether they do electrician on the side or if they're a plumber on the side. If they're not licensed, do not go the cheap way. It's just not worth it in the end. God forbid you do have a claim And they will go far, this far back to see that everything was in order right from the beginning. So a couple other coverages I wanted to talk about is EPLI, which stands for Employment Practices Liability Insurance. And an example of that is a California dispensary had a former employee sue them for wrongful termination based on their age and for having a hostile work environment. So when the lawsuit came through, EPLI policy came into play. It covered the legal costs for the dispensary. And based on the ruling of the court, it did pay out in favor of the employee. So, on top of that, the EPLI insurance carrier said that they would help the risk mitigation, such as implementation training of workplace and discrimination training. And the purpose of that is to prevent any more potential claims. So, it's something not even just in the cannabis space, but any industry that has maybe a lot of like service, whether restaurants, things like that. But we are hearing more and more of employees thinking they were fired improperly, and so whether they were or not, if you have this protection in place, it helps you at the very least cover the legal costs for you. The second one I wanted to speak about is D&O, and that stands for directors and officers. So that protects the company and its directors and officers from financial ruin. It improves the company's reputation. It reduces the risk of bankruptcy and safeguards executives and board members from lawsuits and claims. So who needs it? It'd be owners, board members, and executive officers of both private and public cannabis companies. Doesn't really matter the size of the company. If your investor sues you, this coverage will cover legal costs and or the payout of a claim should you're found, you are found liable in court. And then lastly is cyber liability, which is a very hot topic again for any sort of business, because as we know, there's just so many attacks in so many different ways for cyber. So what a cyber liability does, it does a lot. Actually, it's a really robust type of policy, and it helps protect sensitive data and maintains business continuity. It also protects data breaches, financial fraud, and operational disruptions. So cannabis businesses face the same sort of cyber threats as any other company. And some examples are phishing, so that tricks employees revealing sensitive information, ransomware, which locks down systems until a ransom is paid, malware infects systems to steal or destroy data, data breaches, which exposes sensitive information, and insider threats. So, employees misusing their access to cause harm. So I have an example of how this policy would come into play. So there was a cannabis dispensary data breach, and a cannabis dispensary in a state with legalized marijuana experienced a significant data breach when hackers infiltrated their point of sale system. And the breach exposed sensitive customer information, including names, addresses, purchase history, in some cases, payment card details, so their credit card information. So major impact on the dispensary. They had to deal with regulatory fines. So since cannabis businesses must comply with stringent state and federal privacy laws, the dispensaries face substantial fines for failing to protect consumer data. So that's one thing. Reputational damage, customers lost trust in the dispensary, obviously, and leading to decreased foot traffic and online orders. Legal costs. So several affected customers filed lawsuits claiming negligence in securing their personal information. And operational disruption. So the dispensary had to shut down its point of sale system temporarily, which halted sales and obviously resulting in significant revenue loss. So, how a cyber liability policy would help is one, it would help cover financial losses. The insurance covered the cost of fines, legal fees, and settlement with customers. It also provided data recovery. It funded IT forensics teams to identify the vulnerabilities and restore the system securely. So, the policy actually found IT forensics team, paid them to help figure out, how we prevent this moving forward. This policy also supported reputation management, meaning the policy included coverage for public relations efforts to rebuild customer trust. And lastly, it mitigated long-term damage ultimately. So by addressing the breach quickly and professionally, the dispensary could focus on its core operations while minimizing any long-term business disruptions. So it was just a quick, brief overview of, what you should consider if you're looking into opening up any type of cannabis business, from seed to sale, as we say. So some risk management strategies, as well as some other insurance policies that you may never even heard of, that could apply to you besides your standard, workers' comp and general liability. Again, talk to a trusted advisor. I happen to be one with World Insurance. So any help I can, provide and any guidance, please call me. My information is on the screen. And good luck out there. Thank you so much for your time, Madison.
Thank you, Colleen. This is part of a 4-part series which can be viewed on the Women's Cannabis Chamber of Commerce website, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Thank you so much.